During these minutes before 11 a.m., I thought I would just this morning talk about a little bit about how grateful Stephen and I are to every one of you who participated in the New Life Challenge. Whether you completed it or not is not the issue, but if you participated, we are very grateful. For those of you who have sent your stories in, we have read and reread. We are continuing to read, and we are so moved by what you shared, by the transformation that each of you has undergone while doing the New Life Challenge. So we mentioned earlier that we would be announcing the winner of the challenge by the 30th of July, and we will do that. We're just not quite ready to determine what is going to happen because there are so many wonderful, wonderful stories, and we're very grateful, as I said, to each and every one of you. So, let's see. It looks like we're very, very close to the to the top of the hour. And I will wait just a little bit longer, and I'm so grateful to see all of you who are already on. It is so inspiring to me and totally increases my desire to make sure that this happens every week. Last week, I was not here, as most of you, any of you who follow me all the time, understand. So I'm grateful that Stephen was here to step in for me. And there may be more of that happening, not just because I'm not available, but because he has so much information to share as well. And the two of us may be on together in some of our sessions. So I am looking at my computer right now, at the clock on my computer, which tells me that it is 11 o'clock. So happy Sunday, and thank you for being here. It may have been an interesting week. Has anyone here had an interesting week or month? I certainly have. It began with an eclipse, a new moon eclipse, and then this week we have another eclipse, a full moon eclipse, and eclipses tend to shake things up. So your life may not look the same at the end of July as it looked back in June. Mine seems to be shaping up that way. So, getting started, my topic today is really and truly adding another layer of boundaries, because I have been dealing with a situation with congestion in my lungs, and it has given me the opportunity to sit back and to take another look at many things in my life. Has this been easy? Absolutely no. Now, how many of us, I'm going to ask you a question. How many of us work very diligently to accomplish something or to get ourselves in a different place? Whether it is a diet or exercise program or oils program or whatever it is. And then once we're there, we feel like, okay, I'm there, and we move on to something else, totally forgetting what got us there in the first place. Well, just so you know, I'm not immune to that, because it happens to me too. We get busy or we get sick, and we stop doing the things that have kept us healthy and focused and doing what we choose to do most. That is why I mentioned several times that the New Life Challenge was 30 days. That was the challenge. However, it is not over at the end of 30 days, because 30 days is merely the beginning, and it truly is a life journey, which is what we're probably going to call this, the New Life Journey, since the challenge part is over. So, what was the first thing that we all did with the New Life Challenge? Among other things, we used a lot of oils, okay? And so, to me, Sacred Mountain, the first and most foremost thing to do every single moment is to make your strong connection with the source and to maintain that connection throughout whatever you are doing. So I love Sacred Mountain, and I'm going to use that again. I've used it several times already this morning. I'm using it again. And while I have been dealing with this issue, this congestion issue, I have been testing out a few different oils. However, my major focus for the longest time was it's a respiratory issue, so let's use all of the things that support healthy respiratory function. Well, things are not always due to what we may think might be the way. And I woke up this morning, I awakened with this excitement, thinking, this is what I need to talk about today, looking from a different perspective. And so talking about the congestion that I have had, I'm going to also use one of Gary's favorites, White Angelica, which I have more ordered. I have a very old bottle because I didn't use it all the time. Sound familiar? Gary said to put it on your shoulders, to breathe it in, and to absolutely put it over your entire energy field every single day, multiple times, because it has the effect of kind of pushing away all that negativity or chaos that may distract you. And I have to say, I have been very much distracted because I coughed and coughed and coughed over and over. Well, this morning, finally, certainly took me long enough, I began to think, what is mucus? And that's what we're going to really talk about. You know, what mucus really is, why it forms. Well, mucus is a watery substance. I probably won't give you the exact scientific thing. You can Google what mucus is. However, it forms naturally in our body. And we often think of mucus in connection with our nasal passages and our sinuses, or maybe down to the throat, dripping down the throat and into the lungs, bronchitis, all sorts of different things. But mucus actually, as it creates inflammation throughout the body, and mucus can actually exist everywhere in the body. It goes through the digestive tract, so it's in your stomach. It goes through all of your intestines, ending up in the colon, of course. And it can land in your joints. Any of you have any stiff or painful joints? Undoubtedly, there is mucus collected there. So, dealing with it, we can look at it from a different perspective, which suddenly I had that aha moment this morning. And it's at looking at it about fire. What can dry up mucus? Mucus can make you feel heavy, that extra moisture, and it can create infection throughout the body. It can do all sorts of things. So fire can burn this off. So I am focusing upon getting my fire burning, making sure that the fire the passion, the will to move forward is there. As we all know, fire transforms. Now, the catch here is we do not always know what is going to turn up when we burn something, do we? What's going to emerge from the ashes? And often we're quite a bit afraid to set that fire to begin with. Now, for me, I have had major temperature issues, and my body has been cold. Well, guess what? Whoops, I just dropped my card. Excuse me. Knocked them right off my desk. When our fire is low, our temperature drops. Duh, fire heats up everything. So if I had thought about this and paid more attention to keeping my fire burning. Now, this is the fire card, the hologram for the Rainbow Healing cards. Consists of 3 of the single glyphs. The breath of life, which truly is your fire. The freedom, which is letting go of the beliefs, the fears, the attachments. And the leadership. Now, I kind of thought, well, leadership, that's a gentle thing. It's not really so much about fire, although it is about fire. When I looked up, I was checking for oils today. I was looking for my Live Your Passion and my Light Your Fire blends, which I couldn't find. So I read what was in them. And I was interested to see that in both Light the Fire and Live Your Passion are the single oils that anchor the energies of fire, which are breath of life, freedom, and leadership. So in this respect, I started applying my oils that anchored these energies. The orange. As we apply orange, think of that fire raging up through the bottoms of your feet, coming through your legs, moving all the way up throughout your being, setting you totally on fire. I'm going to use my orange, and I'm visualizing that breath of life glyph just moving everywhere. And then I'm going to apply the lemon. Now, this is all about letting go. Letting go of all those fears and the worn out beliefs, things, the attachments. So many of us hold on to those attachments, allowing them to just filter their way right in, all the way down to the physical level. So as we eliminate the attachments, let's burn them off as well. And then I was truly surprised to see that Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood is in both Live Your Passion and Light Your Fire. So I'm going to apply more and more of this as I go along. As I said, I've already applied it several times today, and here I am applying more. So let me see what else One of the things that I had not been doing, as I said, I'm guilty of this, just like everyone else, and that's another thing that congestion, lung issues seem to be connected totally with guilt, sadness, disappointment, all of that stuff. And one of the things that I'm also guilty of is just not always doing things. I haven't felt really good. And I didn't do my Qigong exercises. I'm so grateful that Sasha decided to post that link this week, because it was like, oh my goodness, Frances, when are you going to remember that this applies to you as well? So if you haven't gone to my website, it's in my books as well, the directions, but there's a video of getting your fire moving. Just a few minutes can make all the difference. As I stood there and did my Qigong, moving the fire up the core of my being, the stretches, visualizing those flames engulfing me, starting at the very core of my being, at the bone level, and moving through the blood level, and finally all the way through every chakra, and going out, moving out through the entire energy being, and filling my sacred space with the fire. Immediately, this heavy mucus, this very heavy feeling began to leave, and my passion returned. So it seems so simple. It seems too simple to be effective. However, it can be. Try it and see. We'll post the link again on this when I post this video after I finish, for those of you who have not been doing the exercises, just in case you choose. They've been on my website for like 1.5 years, almost 2 years. They've been in all of our publications, but sometimes just having something to go along with it helps to motivate you. And so it helped to motivate me because I actually listened to it. Duh. Okay, so the next thing we do is we make sure that we have those gold and silver boundaries around, that we have our cylinder in place. Remember, we're creating our sacred space and visualizing it, pushing the chaos outside and having that boundary. And we've had the silver, the shiny silver, to push back anything from coming in, to reflect it back to the sender if it was not going to be helpful. And that sparkling golden energy, which will dispel any negativity. It will transform the alchemy into gold, into positive, whole energy of the highest possible vibrational level. So as we breathe again, and remember, breathing is important. Trust me, I have felt as if I were being buried alive because it has been difficult for me to breathe for the past 3 weeks. So as I am lighting my fire stronger and stronger, the breathing difficulties are dissipating, moving away. Now, what took me so long? Who knows? I'm human, just like each one of you. And we're a process. We're on a journey. Duh. So now we're going to add another layer to this boundary, because around us we've got this beautiful gold and silver energy. And what is the color that signifies in your mind stop? Does anyone know what the color might be? What's on traffic signals that is meant to tell you to stop? The color is red. And Stephen has been talking about this and loves to do this all the time. Frances, with her vivid imagination, I am doing painting red everywhere. At, stop signs have that red on them. X, don't come, don't do anything else, stop. So I'm taking out my big paint can of red paint, flaming red paint. And I'm taking out a big wide paintbrush, and I'm just going to paint over the outside of my sacred space. X's. Big red X's everywhere. I'm having fun because this is kind of like playing. Okay? Don't forget to go behind you. I mean, after all, we are three-dimensional beings. And so 360 degrees is very important for us to remember, to have our boundaries all the way around us, not just in front of us where we can see. Now, you may choose, I kind of like doing these X's because it kind of makes me feel like I'm drawing a little lattice work. However, you may feel at times that you need just to paint over all of it. Whatever feels right to you, do it. Because whatever you and the source feel is appropriate for you at any time is appropriate, no matter what is right for someone else. So, we're going to light our fire. Live our passion. It's living your passion, not just someone else's. Living your passion. And how do you determine that? By sitting down and paying attention to what your priorities are, your refinement list, what you will allow in your life, and what you choose not to allow in your life. To keep this foremost in your mind and to understand that your priorities do change moment to moment. And that's okay, because we live in a very changing world. And what was right yesterday may have nothing to do with what is correct today. So listen to your guidance. Burn away all that mucus. Keep that fire going as brightly as you possibly can. Get rid of all of those things that are no longer supporting you. Get out that big can of red paint and paint whatever you choose to paint outside your sacred space to keep anything from coming in and interfering with you and your journey. And then don't forget to believe. Believe is the key that brings it all together. Without that belief, it's not going to happen. So have a great week filled with wonder and discovery and lots of beautiful, beautiful rainbows. And I'll see you next week.